السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. Would you like to read the first verse? Try.
وإن
يكاد
الذين
كفروا
كفروا لينسلوا
ليزلقونك
بأبصارهم لما سمعوا الذكر ويقولون إنه لمجنون.
And English?
And the deniers would almost kill you with their eyes when they hear the reminder and they say, surely he is possessed.
What do you understand from it? What can you say about the verse? You read the verse. What do you understand from it? What do you know about it? Okay?
That when they hear it,
So when
they hear the reminder, they want to kill with their eyes because it's like they won't say it, but it's like there's a lot of animosity towards it.
a lot of
Animosity?
honesty. Why?
Because they want other people to be like them, and
So we want the people to be like that?
yeah.
Yeah. So if someone says something else, why bother? And what they say, it's a good start, yeah.
Because they don't have an answer to it. That's why they can't say it.
Excellent. They don't have an answer to it, yeah.
Well, that's why they can't say it.
Not because, of course, it is included, but not only because they want others to be like them, but they don't have an answer. What they want? If somebody doesn't have an answer, and if somebody comes and tells you something, and you have no way to defend yourself, what do? Say, continue all of you, please. Please don't be afraid of making a mistake.
They turn it around on you.
They
Turn it around on you like you did something wrong.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. They accuse you.
Yeah.
They come with a counter accusation.
I mean, a part of it is that it touches something in them.
Yeah.
And they're afraid of it, and they don't know. They don't analyze it, and so they automatically try to pin that fear or whatever nerve that they felt got touched onto you. It's your fault that I feel bad.
Now, good point.
Right.
I feel bad now
because
as was said there, they don't have the answer.
Right.
And what you say makes me feel bad. It hurts me. And
it's your fault.
And
instead of trying to understand, analyze, why do I feel hurt?
Let's continue the verse. The verse says, and they say, would you like to say?
Yeah. Usually when someone doesn't have a proper response to an argument that you present to them, they'll resort to attacking your character instead. So instead of going to the argument, they'll say, surely he is crazy, he is possessed.
Yeah. That's what. Surely he is. Here in
he is possessed.
Possessed. Why do you think the Quran, they can say anything, they can say a lot of things, but especially they say that he is possessed. Why do you think the Quran chooses and prefers the word possessed? Yeah?
Because it's suggesting that the person isn't making the decision on themselves, which discounts the decision itself. If you're saying like someone's possessed, it means it's like some phase or some craziness they're going through, and it makes what they're doing seem less important. Versus if they're saying that's a ridiculous argument, then you're giving the person who's saying it legitimacy.
Now, I shouldn't pretend to follow that I have followed you, because I don't hear very well.
Sorry?
So it is not your fault. It is not my fault. I don't feel very well. So somebody.
So she's saying that if it were some other argument, like your argument doesn't make sense, then you're giving legitimacy to the person, and that they're actually capable of making the argument, and that we can have a conversation. But if it's something like position and something that makes no sense, and we should not even listen to you because there's something wrong with you, then you take away the legitimacy of that person's argument to start with.
So you start attacking from another point. Now, because it is obvious that they don't have a counter argument which will challenge what they heard from the message. For example, now what Islam says, what the Islamic teaching really promotes is you have to be modest before God, you have to be honest in your inner world. But what they do, they don't say that Islam is based on such a meaningless ideology, which says there is the universe has been created by someone who's absolute, transcendental, God. Doesn't make sense, does it? No, they can say that. What they say, a man who killed somebody, he's a Muslim. Look at the relationship. No, the Muslims are terrorists. Look at the relationship. Yeah. For example, Islam says the life after death definitely exists. This world is so wonderful. Human life is so meaningful. It cannot come to an end, complete annihilation. There must be a purpose in human creation. They say the Muslims are accuse the Muslim behavior. Now, we understand that they cannot really come with a counter argument and prove it, demonstrate it. They cannot do that. Because their claim, anybody, any ideology who doesn't accept that the universe has a creator, what do they have to do is very simple. They have to explain the existence of this world within itself, because they claim the transcendental being or anything beyond the creation or not of this universe. So those people who say the universe must have been created by someone, by a conscious being, because it is a conscious act. They cannot ask us, show me the God, show me the creator, because I am saying no. I'm not saying I can show you, because I am not saying that it is within the universe. I am saying it is not of the nature of the universe. I cannot really demonstrate it. But this is my logical conclusion, that it must have a creator. Now, they have to challenge this logical conclusion with a counter argument. This counter argument is, or should be, based on something within the universe. If something within the universe, it must be demonstrable, because it is within the universe, either materially or otherwise. It must be demonstrable. For example, you cannot really demonstrate the entity of life, but at least you can demonstrate the effect of life within the universe. Yes, I cannot demonstrate particles in the world, but I can demonstrate the effect of the particle within the universe. It is within the universe, and it is demonstrated in the labs. Look, this effect is from something that I cannot physically observe. But because of the effect within the universe, okay, explain the existence of the universe by demonstrating this factor, existence of the universe, the factor which caused the universe to exist, to come into existence within the universe. Can they do that? They say, universe exists. Yeah, we know universe exists. No one says it doesn't. But what is the cause of existence of this universe? What is the cause of the qualities existed in the universe? How many qualities can you detect in the universe? How many? 5? Sorry?
Many.
Countable. Uncountable. Uncountable. What uncountable? Uncountable? Yeah. What are the source of existence of these qualities? Human mind questions this. If you don't believe or accept that these qualities have a source of existence which is beyond this universe, it means beyond the capacity of this universe, yeah? Not materially, space-wise, time-wise, beyond the universe, above the universe. They call it transcendental being, not belonging to the territory of this universe. Transcendental, something not of the nature of this universe. We have to make it clear. They cannot demonstrate it within the universe. They cannot logically find out the source of existence of any quality in the universe. What they only say, like a child, here it is, it exists. Come on, are you playing with me? Of course I know it exists. That's why I am questioning the source of existence of this quality. Yeah? Any quality you can think of in the universe, they have no answer. What they say, either politically, they find a way of accusing you, blaming you, or it is ideologically, how ideologically consistent it is questionable. But ideologically, they say they are talking about something magical. As it is said here, when you recite, what's going on? Yeah. When they hear the reminder, it means when they hear the message from the Creator, when for example, you come up with an idea or with the view of the Qur'an or any other scripture, but one condition, the deniers. That is an interesting condition. We will come back to this point. They say, these people are talking about something unknown. They are possessed. It means really, really psychologically disturbed people. But they say we are rationalists, etc. But when you reason, if they cannot really reject your reasoning and come up with a counter reasoning which makes more sense to the reasoning, what they say, they don't say they are reasoning, because belief is based on reasoning. But without reasoning, how can I believe in anything? How can I claim that I believe in God if I have never reasoned about it? If I have never come to the conclusion that there must be a creator who's called God? What they don't say that the believers are stupid people. They reason, they question. They cannot say this because it will contradict them. Their own arguments that they are rationalist people, they reason, they are scientist people, they do always demonstrations, all this kind of stuff. They say nothing to do with the conclusion, reasoning conclusion, the conclusion of the reasoning. We call them logical conclusion. Nothing to do with what they are doing. They observe, they see the things and qualities exist, the order, certain type of order exists in certain parts of the world, and they discover this order within the universe. When you start asking the question, what is the source of existence of this order, or any part of order, not only the order, beauty, design, cooperation, working in harmony, purposeful actions. Is there any action which is chaotic nonsense? Yeah, you see, for example, the wind comes, storm. Do you think it is chaotic? Go and ask the meteorologists. They can really, not completely, it is very difficult, but it doesn't mean that it's impossible. They can guess what will happen 1 week later. Because it is not chaotic, it is within order. There's nothing chaotic in the world. If you take a stone and throw into a pool or water pool, it starts making way. It is not chaotic. Nothing is chaotic in the world. Everything works in order, proportionate to the opposite actions. I mean, I cannot really use the technical words. Yeah.
Doctor, can we use the word causality?
Not causality, chaotic.
No, causality as created order. Is this the correct word to use?
What is causality?
Causality.
It means order.
Yes.
Order. Now, of course, technically they use something. We refer to this word from time to time, but we have to be very simple. Causality means real order.
Yeah.
Causation is different from causality. They say this one made this. It is, if you like, more stupid. An inanimate thing with no quality at all, subject to the order of the universe, made something else come into existence. It's totally nonsense. It has no quality to do anything. It is even worse. But even causality, I really personally avoid using the technical words. Make it simple. The order has billions of different kinds of qualities. They observe it and they say, this is what it is. And human mind asks, what is the cause of the source of existence of the thing? It's very simple. We have to keep always asking this question. Not only once today, every day, we have to ask the same question to ourselves. Whatever happens, you may feel happy. What is the cause of existence of happiness? You may feel sad. What is the cause of existence of sadness? You may feel excited. The same question, same question. Cause of existence of any quality you can say. You have to question. That is the fundamental base for belief, for conviction, human conviction in one's conclusion. So they say, look, these people are possessed. We understood from your comments as well that because they have no argument against it, they are running away, they start accusing you for something else. Because your skin color is black. You say, I believe in God. you have a hair, curly hair. What does it to do with that? Something like that. Nonsense. So they say that you are speaking out of psychological disturbance. Majnun is this really? As if you are ready to run away. Huh? Come and join us. Okay? No one will take it. Don't worry. It is a safe place. Baldatul Amin. So anyways, but what is the reason for them to accuse you with something totally arbitrary and nonsense? Yeah? Doesn't make sense. Doesn't prove anything. For example, if you say something, example, I love my mother, I say, something is wrong with your mind. Well, I can say it, the tongue says it, but it doesn't mean anything. You have to explain to me why, if I'm right or wrong. The Quran starts with this word, Inna alladhina kafaru. No. Huh? It is too small to read. For me, this one, I have to go back and look at it. Those people who deny. Now, do you notice that not submitting to the reason for not submitting to the truth is your preconditioned attitude? I'm not going to submit to the truth. And then whatever you say, it wouldn't have any effect on you. Because you are not ready to submit to the truth. Not because they are not convinced. Yeah, for example, if the argument was like this, when you come with an idea, especially through the revelation or reminder means really the Quran. It means scripture or God's guidance. When you come with God's guidance or anything to do with belief actually in the existence of the Creator, if someone says, please explain to me, open-minded man, They may not understand properly, but they have an open attitude towards you, and they stop arguing, if you like, in a civilized way. You said this, but is it really logically consistent? Does it really make sense? Can I really approve it as a human being? Right? This is a human attitude. They don't have to accept it on the spot, but denier means a pre-conditioned, blocked mind. It means dogmatic, right? Dogmatic. So if someone is dogmatic, whatever the evidence you bring, he will say, what shall I say to reject it? They wouldn't try to understand you. That they are not sincere. That's why Qur'an says, in the same context, we put stamp on the hearts, the minds and eyes, the ears of the people. It means really locked at. Who are they? Whose hearts, whose minds, whose eyes and ears? It means he doesn't want to see any reality at all. God says, we put the stamp on it. What does it mean?
It means like, because they've never used their minds to begin with, they never questioned, so they don't know how to question or how to respond to these hard, so they lost it.
No, not because they don't know.
Oh.
Because knowing or not knowing is normal. It's human. Because they deny from the very beginning with a dogmatic attitude. Whatever you say, I'm not going to accept it. I am the chieftain of the tribe. I am the such and such. They attribute something to themselves and say, I'm not going to listen to you. And I'm not, for example, if they really make their mind up and saying that I'm going to enjoy my life here in this world, and I don't want to think anything else. So not because God locked, if you like, put a stamp on, means really stamped out their heart, their mind. No, God says, this is the order of my creation. If you have a dogmatic attitude, the order is what? Order of the creation is what? Automatically shuts your mind, heart, eye, ear locked. That is it is just saying that, for example, very simple example, if you don't turn, if you say that I'm not going to turn the switch on, God says you are bound to stay in darkness at night. Why? This not because God doesn't, before you decide about anything, God says, okay, I blocked your mind. It doesn't work anymore. It wouldn't work anymore. Not at all. It's just information, giving an information what the reality is in this world. If you don't turn, switch on, and when the electricity is working, of course, this is an example, you are bound to remain in darkness. Is it anything to do with God's interference into people's free will? Just as telling you what it happens. My simple example is, if you don't plant the seed, I'm not going to create you a tree. It means I am just telling you that this is the order of creation. It never changes. If you don't plant the seed, you won't have the plant or the tree, example. If you plant it, you will have it. If you don't have a blocked mind, it means dogmatic mind, preconceived attitude, you can think, you can understand the truth. While you are trying to understand the truth, it may take some time. You may have some difficulties in understanding. These are quite normal. It's human. You cannot learn everything at once. So who is saying that when they hear the message or the reminder from their creator, who is saying, you are the possessed man? Dogmatic people. Preconceived mind. I'm not going to accept it. I'm not going to change my view. I'm not going to change my position, either social position, political position, economic position, or my status in the society, whatever. I'm not going to listen to you. For any reason, they blocked the way. Of course, this is easy to speak about deniers, right? There is another problem. We have to be very careful here. If we have the same attitude, because I was born into a Muslim family and I am a Muslim, I'm not going to think about whether what I believe or what I claim to believe makes sense or not is the same. Right? Your heart, your mind, your eyes, your ears are full of. It's the norm, if you like, norm of the creation, norm of the world. So we have to have an open mind. That less, always open. To any suggestion. Yes, sir.
So if someone displays this kind of behavior,
yeah,
that they have a dogmatic approach to the argument that you're trying to make, does that mean that you should just leave them alone?
No.
But then if it's sealed that they're not going
not sealed? No, you didn't get the... that is a very critical way of reading the verse. Look, this is the common understanding, which is horrible.
But let me complete. Like, if that person, in a sense, is blinded, not because it's imposed on them, they self-impose that blindness.
Yeah.
What, if anything, can you do to help them overcome that? If it's something that is entirely in their hands.
Now, we are still, I'm sorry, we are learning, all of us learning. I went through these stages 40 years ago. I'm still going through. Don't worry about it. We are still under the influence of the common, traditional, cultural understanding. If the heart is sealed, it means it is dead, never revives. Why this man is created anymore? There's no point. But this man is still given life, given opportunities, given days. Look, how we understood it, we have to be very careful. The slight change makes a great difference at the end. The examples, listen to the examples. That is my principle. I am letting you know, if you decide not to put the seed, plant the seed in the soil, I will never create you. That's my principle. As the creator of the universe, I will never create a tree for you. It doesn't mean that tomorrow you will have the same attitude. You say, okay, I understood that if I don't put the seed, tree never comes out. So let me put the seed. It's a possibility. Look, this is not an eternal stamp on them, but this is the information letting the people know how the way of creation is operated by the creator, owner of the universe, works. This is just information. What we do, we love reading the Qur'an under the influence of the stories. And we are under the influence of this kind of reading. It is extremely difficult. I understand this. I don't mind repeating and emphasizing on it. When we read the Quran, we should put our previous understanding aside, cultural understanding aside. What we have learned from narrations, culture, but a common culture, we should never listen to people who just keep repeating the tradition again and again as it exists in the cultural atmosphere. So when you say, look at the verse, this verse which I refer to, إن الذين كفروا سواء عليهم أأنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون ختم الله على قلوبهم وعلى سمعهم وعلى أبصارهم غشاوة. But the first condition is, shall I translate it, or do you know? It's very famous, everybody. Shall I?
Yes, please.
Okay. Those people, surely, those people who deny. How did we define denial? Taken dogmatic, obstinate attitude. I'm not going to submit to the truth. That is my word. That's what I understand. I'm not going to question it. But be careful. We understood this verse. Yes, on attitude-wise, Quran emphasizes on the deniers. But attitude-wise, those people who follow the tradition or the culture happen to be born into a Christian family or Muslim family. They say, this is my culture. I'm not going to question it. That's what I believe. That's what we believe. My ancestors believed, my fathers believed, my family believed, and I'm following the way. The same thing attitude-wise. Do you understand? Attitude-wise. But the Quran invites people to get rid of this attitude, because this is the way God treats the creatures. This is its order, how the order works in this world. Quran is a reminder. Now, Quran, it doesn't say, look, I am speaking to you, but you are not going to change. If I am in the context of this word, this verse, kafir, if I am such a person, why do you keep speaking to that? Because I'm done. Why do you keep speaking to me? And the prophet, example, not only the prophet, but anybody who receives the prophetic message is advised to go and remind people. Remind. Keep reminding, don't force. Keep reminding, don't force. That is the general trend. No force. Yeah? But keep reminding. Why? That is your duty and my duty. Have you ever thought about it? Are you ready to question it? Are you? Simple, is it? Very simple. Please don't block your way, your mind. your questioning capacity in either way. But the example is given in the denial side because they decided, I'm not going to accept. Yeah. But for the believer side, it is not dogmatic. Look, denying is dogmatic, based on dogmatism. Belief is not based on dogmatism, because out of dogmatism, denial is born. But out of dogmatism, belief, conviction is never born. Do you understand? That is the difference. Belief, by definition, believer is not a person. When Quran says believer, doesn't mention about the person here and there. Believer is attitude, a man's attitude. Believer means a person who's convinced. How can you be convinced if you are dogmatic? Is there any way? I've never seen that. But unfortunately, among some people, some believers, they say they are believing. I'm not saying they are not believing, but they take in a dogmatic attitude. When you ask them, use your human capacity to question whether what you claim to believe is consistent or not. Have you ever thought about it? Not because you heard something from your father, you say, my father is a good man, I follow him. Whatever he says not makes sense to me, I follow him. He's my father. He's my ideal man. That attitude is a dogmatic attitude. You cannot help this man either unless he or she leaves the dogmatism behind. That's why I keep saying, it seems to be very simple. To believe in God, to believe in the message of the Quran is not difficult, with one condition. Very simple. What is that condition? Leave cultural understanding of belief aside. I'm not saying deny the cultural, because it may have some truth in it. Leave it aside, start establishing your belief system from scratch for yourself. Because your father's belief, your mother's belief doesn't help you to believe. Do you get it? You have to, everybody has to start from scratch. This is the, how do you say, problem of the community who claim to believe. Because I am born into a Muslim family, I believe. What a ridiculous idea. Because, we are Muslims because I was born in Bangladesh. So what? You have to start from scratch for yourself. But you learn from the people, analyze it. If you are comfortable about it, confirm it, that's a belief. So in this verse and other Quranic verses as well, what the Muslims in general, the superficial thinking people, very simple, but simple-minded people. The kuffar is like this. The kuffar, the unbelievers, their heart is blocked. Whatever you do, it doesn't help. If it was so, according to their very hardcore understanding of the prophetic mission, why the prophet kept conveying the message to the pagans? Because they were unbelievers. Their heart is blocked. Why do you bother? Doesn't make sense. It is contradictory. No. The condition, for example, if water, under certain conditions, of course, given conditions, is subject to below zero or below freezing degree, centigrade zero. I know that, but 34 or 30, what?
32.
Sorry?
32.
Sorry?
32.
Freezing 32 or 52?
30.
32, yeah. If it is in an atmosphere where the cold is below 32, it freezes. Now, the water is below 32, it is frozen, correct? Okay, when I say the water is frozen, it doesn't mean that it has to remain frozen forever. When the atmosphere becomes warmer, it becomes liquid. That was an information. Although it is very simple, in this class, we keep saying that read the Quran as a guide. As a guide. Teaches you how God, the Creator, treats human beings. Yes.
So my question is really like, what I meant was, if someone is displaying this type of attitude that they're being dogmatic, they don't want to listen, should you divert your attention to someone else that would be more willing to listen?
Of course, if there are some other people, yeah.
Or should you just continue
hammering on their mind?
Well,
yeah.
I mean, one day something may change,
yeah.
And then they will be more open to listening.
Yeah.
And so, where do you put that? Where do you have that balance? Because you don't want to also be the kind of person that just starts sounding dogmatic yourself. And
yeah.
You're saying this, I'm saying this, and we're just going to continue saying the same thing.
Okay, but bring up your reasoning, your documents, your data, whatever you have for your own conviction, and present the people. But it doesn't mean that you have to impose them on anybody. If you have the option, for example, a better option for other people who are more willing, well, let's go there. Of course, it doesn't mean what the theoretically you are going into practice. Theoretically, these verses, neither this verse or the verse I referred, which is the beginning of almost beginning of the second chapter. We know that. Everybody knows it's very famous. The verse first puts the first condition as the person's attitude must be dogmatic. And as long as somebody is dogmatic, cannot learn anything. Now, but this is theory now. If, for example, you see that these people denied once, rejected once, because you don't know that this person is either going to change or not going to change. Do we know the future? I don't. And so if he is willing to listen to you, if there is an opportunity, can wait. But at the same time, in the teachings of the Quran, one thing is important. We should never waste. Waste doesn't mean waste. In Arabic, israf. Waste doesn't mean that, for example, I have something, some food, and throw it into the dustbin or trash can. Throw it in, dump it. That is waste. No. If you are more needy than I am somehow okay for today. In my stomach, okay, I can walk, I can really go around, but I know that you are so hungry. Just an extreme example, but it seems to be extreme nowadays. But in some places and earlier on, it wasn't really the extreme case. It was very usual case. You are so needy and hungry, you cannot move. If I eat the food, doesn't give you, what is it? Waste. It is waste. I didn't use in the best way, optimum way. It is waste. So if you understand this concept, waste, for example, somebody is ready to listen to you and come and says, please tell me what you have heard or learned newly. And of course, you prefer this one. The other one says, come on, don't speak to me. This is a preference practically, but it doesn't disqualify the theory, theoretical base. Theoretical base is, as long as somebody is given life, we have to have the hope. That's why we say, if there was no hope at all, God wouldn't give him a life. That's his decision, and I don't know the future. I cannot. It is not me to decide. So look at the opportunity. For example, in the life of the Prophet Muhammad, I gave this example, but you can take this example in your practical life as well. You see a neighbor is, whenever he sees you, with them, if you really brand, you say that this is the terrorist wisdom. And another one says, look, you come from another culture. Can you please come to me and, come, let's have something together. And also, of course, you will go to this man, because the other one has already rejected. But the Prophet, do you think, asked the famous people, Walid bin Mughira, it's one of the very famous ones, enemy, wherever he saw the Prophet, he wanted to really kill him. But of course, the tradition didn't let him, because he was one of the Qurayshi. The tribe members can, it is the tradition, nothing to do with belief system, nothing. If a tribe member kills another tribe member, then the tribe becomes an enemy of this man and punishes him. This is the tribe rule. If you like, this is the constitution of the tribe. So they cannot kill, they couldn't kill the Prophet as a member of the tribe of Quraysh. So, but he really wanted, hated. Do you think the Prophet once talked about to him and said, oh, his heart is blocked, sealed off, let me not go in? You know how many times he spoke to Abu Jahl, famous Abu Jahl? How many times? On every occasion. And in other verses describe that Prophet never was hard with anybody. Now, there are some verses which are, I don't go into the whole Quran now, but there are, ruhama'u baynahum ashidda'u 'alal kuffar. Now, these kind of verses are used by political reason nowadays. Yeah? Kuffar means anybody who doesn't agree with me. And we have to be harsh to them. But just a minute. Have you conveyed the message? Have they attacked to you? Then you have to be harsh. You shouldn't be, the word, who helps me the word? You shouldn't be reluctant to defend yourself. Okay, if you like to kill me, okay, what shall I do? That's your preference. No, you have to protect yourself. And you have to be really resolute in your defense. But about the believers, it means already wants to accommodate your presence within themselves. We have to be kind to them. Although they may not know something, they may be ignorant of something, they may be doing something wrong. Just remind them kindly, because they are open. Believer means open-minded. Look, another description now came out. Do you mind? Do you notice? Believer doesn't mean that somebody took the belief for granted and continued his life and carried on his worldly life. and say that I'm a believer, I'm done, now I have to make money. That's what is happening most of the time among some communities, community members. Now, believer, by definition, must be open-minded, come to a conclusion as a result of his own reasoning, own feeling, whatever. So be kind to them because they are open. If a person comes to with them a dogmatic attitude, they are not open. What can you do? As long as they demonstrate any kind of openness, try to get into it. That's why in other verses, this encourages us to do what? To be compassionate with the people around you. Always kind. An unbeliever, a dogmatic-minded people may be harsh to you. But as long as they don't physically attack you, what are you going to do? You will be softer as much as possible. Now, these are the implications of the verse number 51. Yes, ma'am. You're not the sister.
So, I think that something that we can add to this is that sometimes it's possible to get emotionally invested in trying to explain this this concept of belief in this way to somebody. But that emotional investment comes from this idea that we are the one creating this person's understanding in them.
No.
What we're doing when we're
But
talking
if someone says, I am the one who creates the idea, creating in them, he's not a believer really. Even he may say, I believe in God, and I'm teaching you how to believe in God. I am the source of this belief. It contradicts. Nevertheless, you follow your argument. Yeah. Have you done? No, carry on.
No, I'm not done.
No, but you know what I do, this is a very bad habit of mine, but it is necessary. If someone starts, anyone, including me, basing his line of thinking, now, one step is correct, second step is correct, the third step doesn't make sense. If I let this person continue, it means he or she is going to base his argument, further argument, on the mistaken step. You know, for example, let's say, since, very simple example, since 2 times 5 makes 55. What? 2 times 5 makes 55. And then you are going to make it, because I gave you $5 yesterday, and today also I gave you $5, you have to owe me $55. Before you go to the end, I will say, just a minute, stop there. 2 times 5 doesn't make 55. Don't go further, because the further argument will be false. That is my habit. I don't know how to overcome it, but at the same time, I say I cannot allow this person continue to speak, to continue his or her speech. That's why I keep interfering, but bear with me, carry on. So what did you say that I opposed? What was it? I said, no, it is wrong. This step was wrong. Do you remember?
You created.
Yeah. If someone says, I create the belief in the mind or heart of this person, so it is false. So stop that.
No, I'm talking about somebody who feels that way, that I am conveying a message to somebody,
Yeah.
and this person's
like belief depends on what I say to this person. I'm just saying that is not the case. And what is the case is that we are meant to convey our understanding to people who are interested in hearing it, obviously, to the best of our ability in whatever language this person speaks. But as for the results of this person believing or not believing or even considering what you're saying, that is not something we're responsible of doing.
Yeah, but at the same, that's correct.
Okay.
But at the same time, we know that if a person has a blocked idea, whatever you say, he just labels you, you are possessed. You say, okay. I mean, sorry. If you want to listen to me next week, I can invite you for a dinner and speak to you. Again, we can discuss. Yeah, whether I am possessed or do you have any counter argument? Come to me with your counter argument. But we should never be judgmental about the people's future, including our own future. We don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we don't know. But of course, from the attitude, you get some result. You say, you conclude something. This person is not ready for the moment. First time, I'm very angry, and you come to me and ask me to do something, but I'm out of control psychologically. But it doesn't make sense because I know that I wouldn't success in my aim. Depends, but we are talking about the theory. We should never say that this person's heart is blocked and this person can never be a believer and lose the hope, at least in theory. Do you understand? In theory. That's what we are talking about. Simple. Simple but very essential. Understanding is simple but very essential. In practice, you have to make your decision.
Kind of following off her question, if the person that you want to communicate your understanding of is a loved one, a family member.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't matter. Every family member shouldn't be a loved one. You never know. Okay. Okay. But we respect everybody. Okay.
And it doesn't seem like your message is going through.
Yeah. You see that, experience that. Yep.
What happens?
You just keep looking for an excuse of the occasion, not excuse, I'm sorry. Look for an occasion to go through it, but our subject is not practical. Practicality depends on myriad possibilities. We cannot talk this, but our subject is theoretically we should understand. We cannot decide about people's future. That is our present. We have to understand this. It doesn't mean that somebody's heart is sealed off, doesn't mean that there is no hope from him forever. We don't know. This is how the order of the creation works. As long as somebody is dogmatic, this person cannot change. That's the principle, yeah? It doesn't mean that if somebody is dogmatic today, he will be dogmatic tomorrow as well. We don't know. Most of the people who try to kill the prophet, after 20 years, they sacrifice their own life to protect the prophet. Just the reverse. How? We cannot say that these people's hearts were sealed off. It doesn't make sense. Example why. But when it comes to the practicality, I don't want to go into practical side, because practical side, you can give 1,000 examples, different examples on different occasions, but we have to educate ourselves how to think theoretically and establish our understanding, belief on the theoretical base. Theoretical base doesn't mean that I am using it in the philosophical sense. It is a theory. You can always come up with a counter argument, not in this space. Principles. Dogmatism, as long as it remains as dogmatic, it's incurable. It is an incurable disease. Finish. Either in belief, denying side or nominal religious side. It is cultural religion. Dogmatism is dogmatism. That's what we understood. So what we have to do for what lesson we have to get from it? I should never be dogmatic. If I see the trace of any truth there, I have to open up and listen to it, think about it. If it really makes sense to me and convinces my humanity, I should agree. Huh? Or be open-minded. For example, not only belief system, not only the action-wise, even the, how do you say, practical fiqh method. If someone is born into a Shafi or Hanafi family, if someone comes and says, why don't you do it in this way? Occasionally, in a Maliki way, for example, you cannot change. You cannot change. But because we are not open-minded, you go to we have to understand this. I know there is a Turkish person here from Turkey. There is the calendar, timetable, where the Turkish official authority prints. They come to America, they bring this calendar and apply this calendar. Sun rises 6 minutes later than the American calendar says. And sun sets 7 minutes after the sun sets, according to that tradition. And when you say, look, this is Hanafi tradition and this is another tradition, Shafi tradition, both of them are correct. And people decide this because they don't have the precise calculation. But because they were just looking at it, and I think the sun set, and they said, not really because of the heel. We thought that it sent. Let's wait for another 5 minutes to make sure it becomes really a little bit dark. Now everything is precisely calculated because the Quran says, وَالشَّمْسُ بِحُسْبَانٍ. وَوَضَعَ الْمِيزَانَ إِلَّا تَدَخَى فِي الْمِيزَانِ. What's the verse? بِحُسْبَانٍ. الشَّمْسُ وَالْقَمَرُ بِحُسْبَانٍ. The sun and the moon acts with a certain defined calculation. Husban is muhasabah, the same word, hasabah. So you can calculate it now. You kill this man, but doesn't change his Turkish tradition. Let alone questioning the belief, let alone the way they perform their rituals. One habit they brought their culture, impossible to question. What can you do with this understanding? I think we are here challenging this understanding. Look, be flexible, be open-minded, listen to, don't follow your ancestral religion. Ancestral religion doesn't take you anywhere. It must be your conclusion. your conviction. Okay, last verse. This is the last verse of the chapter 10, Qalam. So next week, this is the second chronologically revealed chapter. Next week, inshallah, we will start the third chronologically revealed chapter, which is Muzammil. It seems to be very simple, you know, wake up at night, come on, don't sleep too long, this kind of thing. But it's beautiful. As I studied, it's really amazing. I'm excited about studying it with you. So the last verse says, وَمَا هُوَ ذِكْرٌ لِلْعَالَمِينَ. So what is the translation? By
Just
touch.
back.
Sorry?
Backspace.
I see. Okay. Yet, somebody read it. No one knows how to read. Okay.
Yet this is merely a reminder to all mankind.
Did you get it? Recording?
I don't think so.
Okay, recording. We record the so the people that live streaming are slowly
Yet,
and also articulately. Okay.
yet this is merely a reminder to all mankind.
Yeah. Thank you. What do you understand from it? This is only a merely a reminder. We have 5 minutes, 6 minutes to all mankind. What do we understand from it? Yeah. And what does it mean? What do you get from this verse? Okay. Yeah, it's very simple. Somebody, please. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
I think what I get out of this is that the message is for you to take and choose to hear and to apply, but it's not forced upon you.
Yeah, there is no force, because this merely, the word, is nothing but in the very structure of the language. As those people who know Arabic, وَمَا هُوَ إِلَّا. It means it is only what it is. You know what I'm going to say. Yeah, you can carry on.
I was just gonna add on that when it says it's merely a reminder, it's like from the previous verse, it's like it causes them so much agony because the message of the Qur'an is so powerful that just a reminder of it can cause this reaction.
So it is a reminder. It is a reminder. It's anybody who has an open mind can really understand it easily. No problem. They should have no problem. But at the same time, another word here, lil-alamin, means, we translate it here as to all mankind, but in fact, the word-wise, but to say to all mankind doesn't contradict the Arabic structure, because alamin, rather than awalim, if, I don't know, I don't want to go into this, if the word was awalim, it means also the words. Alamin is also the words. It is not one word, not the word, the world. So both of them, the plural form of the worlds, but awalim is unconscious worlds. Because of the form of making plural, changes into this regular form of making plural, infers that this is conscious worlds. That's why the scholars are aware of it. It's very simple. I mean, as far as the Arabic structure is concerned, almost a little bit, those people who know a little bit Arabic grammar, yeah, even, can you imagine? I know it. It's so simple, really. The very the elementary level. So the people translated all mankind. They understand that conscious world, and the Quran speaks to mankind. Let's make it all mankind. But it means, for me, yes, to all mankind includes the meaning, but it emphasizes on the universality of the nature of the message. That's the meaning of it. It means it is merely a reminder, and anybody who wants to think about it, this message is valid for this man. You cannot say that, for example, the Chinese people cannot understand the Quran, exclude somebody, or uneducated people cannot benefit from the Quran. No. Or those people who are scientists, they cannot benefit from the Quran because their mind works only one way. They are not open. You can't restrict the addressee of the message. By its nature, it means by its nature, revelation or the scripture is universal. What does it mean? The scripture says, I am universal. Practically, what does it mean? How is it related to my practical life? We always come to this because our principle of studying the Quran in this class, it doesn't exclude the other ways of studying the Quran. Ours is for this purpose, make the Quran understandable and useful here and now for me. Don't go historical. But somebody may study from the historical base. So that is another way. Somebody may study from grammatic perspective. Let them do it. None of our business. Ours is, now what am I going to do with this verse right now within my present condition? That's our question. What am I going to do with it? The message is universal. Anyone who would like to say anything? Yeah.
If it's universal, then it speaks to me.
Sorry?
If it's universal, then it speaks to me.
Okay, correct. But is it, that is correct. It is included
Meaning that
in it.
everything I read in it should mean something directly to me.
Yeah, I can
To
approve
myself.
it. I can understand it. But if I don't understand something, there are two options. Either I have not used my human qualities properly, I blocked my mind, I have lots of prejudices. That is why it doesn't make sense. That's one possibility. It's not the only possibility. Another possibility, we shouldn't be hesitant about it. This Quran says, I am universal, but it's not universal. It doesn't make sense. That's another possibility. Of course, we have to check both sides. First, start first from yourself. Does it really make sense to me or not? That's one way of understanding this. This is what you said is included in it, but even more so. So it fits you. Does it fit Qasim's capacity as well? Huh? Well, the message.
That's a question for him.
No, for you. You are, now, what do you think? Do you think by definition, the scripture, by its definition, we shouldn't forget this kind of definitions I put. By definition, it says, I am universal. According to you, does it mean it should also fit Qasim's capacity?
Yes.
Yeah. Does it even mean it should also fit my capacity? Everything is very rational. Yeah. He's a bit doubtful about me. This is very difficult to convince me, really. So, but I have to be sure, 100% sure, otherwise I will not be convinced. It doesn't mean that I reject straight away. I think about it, until all my senses says yes, I confirm it. Otherwise, I keep searching. That's my habit. Anyways, so the result is, 5 minutes past. The result is, while I am presenting, this is very careful, everybody. Just maybe last 2-3 minutes, while I am presenting the message of the Quran or message of the scripture, but as far as we are concerned in general, the Quran, I should know that the message of the Quran is universal. It means makes sense to everybody, but how can I present it? So everybody, but of course, the other person may be dogmatic, prejudice, may have some prejudice. That is his problem. My responsibility is, I cannot say that this message doesn't make sense to somebody else. This message, impossible to convey this message to Mr., I don't know, Mike. It shouldn't be my attitude. There must be always a way for me to convey this universal message to another person, but I have to train myself. I have to question myself which kind of attitude I should take in order to convey this universal message, because universal means applicable to everybody. So I cannot say that, no, I cannot really present this message to that person because the message doesn't fit to that person. So if I cannot convey the message to myself or to somebody else, by definition, I am not successful in comprehending the universality of the message. Something's wrong with me. It means I am not enough qualified to convey the message to others. There must be a way, but there is not only one way. Universal means applicable to any kind of event under any kind of condition, right? We don't know. Oh man, we are not told. Yeah, we are not told these kind of things in the history that I don't hear in the culture. While the war is going on during the life of the Prophet, and afterwards as well, but not so much afterwards, 30 years, we can say, afterwards, when they are even fighting, right? While they were fighting with the people who attacked them, they were so conscious that we have to behave in a way that this behavior will convey the message to the enemy side. Do you see what I mean? That's why we have to watch out. While I am, for example, while I am fighting against the attackers, do you understand? That's a crucial point now. Either you will be dead or you will save your life. It's a very crucial point. Still, you have to say that, how can I turn this horrible war condition into a way of conveying the message? Why? Message is universal. Every time, to every person, applicable. I have to bear in mind. For example, in the life of the Prophet, we see that there was a person, they always make the bad person in the history woman. There was a wife of somebody who used to throw dirty things on the way when the Prophet was going to the masjid in the early morning. And of course, early morning it is dark, and you don't see what is on, and they try to hurt the prophet and also really express her hatred to her. Still the Prophet was, what did he do? The famous example, when the dirt wasn't thrown away, he said, what happened to this lady? So let me go and ask her after her. You know, how are you feeling? What happened to you? So he wanted to show her compassion to her. Why? Enmity is not the solution. Look for the opportunity to convey the message under every circumstances. Don't say that, this man, I cannot really, this man cannot receive the truth. Never decide this. Reading the two words together. First, dogmatism is the most harmful attitude. The second, the message is universal. There is no limit. That I cannot really help a person. Never give up your hope for anyone, inshallah. But whether you will be successful or not, see what you said, that's up to the other person's attitude, not up to you. But you have to follow the wise way. Yep.
If someone is, like, for that day, though, actively fighting you because they disagree with your beliefs and they're intentionally being like your enemy, and like your response is like, if you act in an Islamic way, it puts you, not to say at a disadvantage, but it's like it allows them to continue their behavior, and that you like turn the other cheek and allow it to go on.
Well, no, it doesn't mean that. You have to look for any opportunity to convey the message, still under the severest condition. That's why the Quran says when you start fighting, they come to you and you have to defend yourself. Don't waste. It means don't go into extreme in your fighting against your enemy. Why? Why? Try to save their life. Because there are many reasons. One is, I always say this because it's the hidden side of history. Because they want to show that our ancestors were so brave people. No. And when they need help, Allah sent the help angels to them. No. It doesn't mean that He never sent them. No, not always the case. Because most of the soldiers, if you like, nowadays soldiers, then there was no soldier in that tradition. But most of the people were slaves, and the slaves were already inclined to Islam. Under the pressure of their lords, they were there. And you don't know who is who, the army is coming, you have to. But if you see that somebody is really not willing to kill you, don't kill. So that he will find opportunity to come back to you. Of course, in the course of time, when the Muslim population increased and became more powerful, they, in the army, block by block people, or group by group, transferred into the Muslim side, believers' side. Why they say, let's go there? Because these people are righteous people. But they were in the enemy or army. And of course, Allah helps. Of course, extraordinary, we call them miraculous things happen. I don't deny them, but not always. And we cannot expect miraculous things to happen to me. No, I have to follow Allah's order. But extra miraculous thing happened, that's up to him, up to the creator. I don't wait for my creator to create something extraordinarily. No, I have no right to do that. But at the same time, we have to know that most of the wars historically narrated were won not because of the help of the angels, because of the people in the opposite army were already inclined to Muslim side. How can you be harsh with them? You have to be kind to them. That is the hard, severest example. Under any circumstances, we cannot decide that I cannot approach this man. This man can never get the message of the Quran, because Quran is a reminder to all mankind under any kind of circumstances. It is up to us to find out the way. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. It's beautiful. To make it alive for ourselves is beautiful. I really love it. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alim al-hakim. Wa akhiru da'wahum alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Inshallah, next week, Muzammil.